Adam, there was a lot of action this past weekend. Mixed bag this past weekend. No, we had this was kind of a boys' weekend. The guys had a lot of success. The ladies' teams had a tough weekend in total this weekend for the Tar Heels. Of course, we know some of them are wagons, though. We fully expect them to get their engines tuned up and be ready. Do wagons have engines? And get ready to go.
At least you got to change the wheels on the wagon every now and then.
Maybe shave down the wooden wheels.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
We'll start with women's basketball, which had a tough one in Durham on Sunday. Tar Heels lose their second straight overtime game. This one was 68-60 at Duke. Deja Kelly had 20, 18 in the second half. That's the good news. The bad news is 6 of 19 from the field.
Carolina had a 14-point lead in that game and led by 10 with 7 minutes to go and did not win the game. Had a couple good looks late off inbounds plays. Both times tied. Unfortunately, neither shot went in. A lot of contact certainly on one of them. But, man, that's one I think the Tar Heels will leave thinking they should have won.
Much like on the men's side, need a little more contribution from the bench. Duke bench had a 31-6 edge in terms of points from the bench.
And, I mean, and this is not an excuse. The Tar Heels do have, I think their bench has been hurt this year by injury dramatically. I mean, Kayla McPherson, Paulina Paris, Sierra Toomey, the really talented freshmen. I mean, all of these players are injured and have played either not at all or barely at all this year. So there's a lot of talent in street clothes right now for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, you don't have the bench that Courtney Banghart imagined when she was looking at the roster on paper. And officiating has been a story. It was in the women's basketball world. It was a story in the Louisville-Syracuse game after really kind of a head-scratching intentional foul call late in that game, essentially handed Syracuse the game. So Brian Kersey will be in here soon, but he's not going to answer any questions about women's basketball officiating because that's not his job.
Right.
But there might be some on the men's side. You never know. Tar Heels are 15-9 overall, 7-5 in the ACC. They're 8th in the ACC right now, but you've got winnable games coming up against Pitt at home on Thursday and then at Wake on Sunday. Those two teams combined 1-23 in ACC play.
Yeah, Carolina's record is not where it wants right now, and it's gone through a very difficult 2 weeks here. Their schedule has also been very difficult over these 2 weeks, and they're going to get an opportunity against some of the teams that they've lost to, primarily State and Duke, at home coming up later in the year. But it feels like they have an opportunity to maybe get some positive mojo going here in the next couple of games. Still have to go do it, but see if they can get moving back in the right direction just to close the year a little better than the last couple of weeks that they've had.
Ton of positive mojo over in the Circle.
Oh, what a start.
Tar Heels softball under the direction of new head coach Megan Smith-Lyon.
What a great way to start.
Start off 4-0.
Yeah, and that first game, Adam.
First game was an 11-0 win over A&T. Perhaps you're talking about Britton Rogers throwing a 5-inning perfect game.
Indeed I am.
8 strikeouts. That's the 9th perfect game in school history.
How about that? Megan Smith-Lyon back at her alma mater. First game as head coach. Boom, perfect game. She's like, well, guys, I've shown I can do it. I'm done.
Here's what we're going to do. This is my coaching philosophy. Don't allow any base runners at all.
Yeah, just give up no hits, give up no runs, no walks. Just perfect. That's as long as we do that, guys, I think we'll win the game.
That's what we've been working on since the first day of practice in January. Go out and execute.
Yeah.
The Tar Heels did allow some base runners in the other games.
It's all right.
However, not really a problem. Beat Winthrop 10-1, then come back Saturday, beat A&T 13-3, and then beat Winthrop again 3-1. Outscored opponents, if you were doing the math on a napkin there, as I was telling you the scores, 37-5 over the weekend. Pitchers allowed 4 earned runs in 25 innings, and the Tar Heels were 21 for 22 in stolen bases.
Well, Adam, softball, like gymnastics, like volleyball, is a sport that is growing, I think, dramatically in popularity. I think there's really good coverage of the sport. And they're fun sports to watch, and they are, they aren't super long games. And so I think all of those things add up to them being fun for viewers and fans. And so, man, I mean, it would be nice. Carolina softball's been solid, but it just feels like that they'd love to take some steps forward. So wouldn't it be fun to, and Megan Smith, this is her first year, they're not going to go undefeated, is my guess.
We don't know that for sure.
Yeah, look, they're still
currently they are.
They are on pace currently. But man, it'd be fun and the ACC is really good in softball. And so it'd be great for Carolina to get in the mix a little bit more there. There could be some big games. I think they could get some crowds. They got a beautiful stadium in Anderson Stadium, right on the edge of campus. And so let's do this, Megan Smith line. Let's get some mojo going. I like it.
Tar Heels won't be back at Anderson Stadium this week. They're headed down to Clearwater, Florida for 5 games starting throughout the weekend. Wrestling. Got a big win.
Big dub.
Number 19 Pitt comes to Carmichael. They go home with the loss. Tar Heels win it 22-12.
I said it was a boys' weekend because I knew you were going to talk men's tennis too. That was not. I should have not said that because I forgot softball had such a great weekend. I apologize. I forgot softball had such a great weekend.
I don't think they took it personally.
Okay.
We'll find out, though.
Yeah. When they all show up at Pod World headquarters with their bats going, what'd you say?
What's Britton Rogers doing out there? Wrestling, Tar Heels win 22-12, 4 ranked wins. Good. That's a good meet for wrestling.
Yes.
Coming off a couple tough ones against 2 really good teams in Virginia Tech and NC State. Come back and beat a top 20 program in Pitt. Tar Heels now heading to Virginia on Friday night at 8:30 on ACC Network. Jones mentioned men's tennis, good win. They're number 25 nationally. Beat number 24 Georgia on Sunday 6-1. Won the doubles point, always important, and then cruise into the victory.
Well, as we've said when we've talked about men's tennis here very early in the season, they had some roster changeover this year. Got a younger group. They got a little spunk at them. I enjoy seeing their highlights when I see them. They are a little bit of a fiery team. I like them.
They're
going to have some mistakes because they're youngsters.
Yeah, a lot of turnover.
But I bet this is a group that really just continues to grow throughout the year. That's a nice win.
They've got some time now to work on themselves. They're off until they host Furman on February 26th.
Wow, 2 whole weeks.
We got to leave a gap in there for ITAs, I think.
Oh, yeah, ITAs.
Another season opener, men's lacrosse. They won their 26th straight season opener.
Yeah.
That's good scheduling. That's the second longest active streak in the country. They went down to Atlanta and beat Mercer 13-5. Former pod guest Logan McGovern, 7 points. He had 3 goals and 4 assists.
Go get it, Logan.
Tar Heels will be on the road in a neutral site this coming weekend. They go to North Bethesda, Maryland to play Fairfield. That's on Saturday. And then track, no big deal, just eclipsing a school record.
Yeah, big time. Adam, I think that's got to go in the powerful performance talk for this month.
It has to, because Ethan Strand runs the mile in 3:54.62. The school record had been Tony Waldrop at 3:55.
Tony Waldrop.
It had stood for 50 years.
Like royalty in the distance running history of the sport, particularly here at Carolina.
There's been a lot of miles run in the last 50 years. No one's done it better than Ethan Strand. He did it up in Boston. 7th best mile time of anyone in the country this season.
What was the time again?
3:54.62.
Woof. That's moving.
Moving faster than anybody has at Carolina in 50 years.
And so about a second better than the old record.
About a third of a second.
Oh, right on the...
Tony Waldrop was 3:55.
Ooh, photo finish.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
So now some things that didn't go as we perhaps would have liked. Women's tennis out in Seattle. Get a big win over Southern Cal in the ITA opener, but suffer an injury to Reese Brantmeyer. That changes things over the next couple days. Tar Heels lose to State 4-3 in the quarters. Brantmeyer didn't play.
Yeah.
Tar Heels have to juggle their lineup. They lose. So that was the night match. Then they have to come back the next morning at like 9.
I think it was 9 a.m. Pacific time.
And play Virginia, who's number 11 in the country. That one didn't go well.
Yeah.
Didn't appear the Tar Heels were locked in. Took the L. So an uncharacteristic trip to the ITAs. What happens next? I don't know.
Well, Coach Calbus was sitting in here with us last week, and he talked about how infrequently the Tar Heels have lost, which is accurate, over the last 6 or 7 years, and how how beneficial he felt like, not that you ever want to lose, of course, but that he felt like loss that they took in the ACCs last year was beneficial. I'm guessing that he's going to be able to use this, and that group will be able to use it. And Reese Brantmeyer, in a team filled with excellent players, is probably Carolina's number 1 or number 2 player, and that is certainly going to be an impactful loss when you lose somebody that talented.
Don't know the extent of that injury yet. Tar Heels have a little bit of time off before ACC play begins with road matches at Florida State and Miami, February 23rd and 25th.
Jump right on in.
Yeah.
Go start playing some league games.
Next year, that'll look like a close trip.
Yeah.
And then women's lacrosse opens up the season. They go on the road to James Madison, who's number 6 in the country, and James Madison wins it 19-18 in overtime. Alyssa Long sent it into OT, a goal with 17 seconds left in regulation, but then James Madison won it almost as soon as overtime began. Ashley Humphrey had 3 goals and 4 assists. Tar Heel defense gave up 19 goals. That's an area that Jenny Levy is going to want to work on moving forward. Home opener today against Liberty at 5 o'clock.
No worries about Jenny Levy and women's lax.
Oh, no.
She's going to lock that puppy up.
Yeah. And James Madison's really good.
Yeah.
So, and Tar Heels, as we talked about before, have had some really unfortunate injury luck in women's lacrosse. They're trying to...
Adam, too much injury. I'm not saying you've done something wrong.
Right.
Too much injury. I am putting a kibosh. No more Tar Heel injuries. No more.
Good.
No more.
I assume...
I deem the injuries over.
I believe the players and coaches will be happy to hear that.
Yes, I deem them over.
Okay.